Good afternoon, everyone, from the IBD Newsroom. Welcome to Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. On today's show, we're going to take a look at another rally in financial stocks, take a look at Jpmorgan in particular, as well as China-based ZTO Express, and another chip stock that is acting well. But before we do that, let's take a look at the major averages and how we ended today. Hi, everyone. Ken Shreve here with Ed Carson. Ed, welcome.
Welcome.
We had a nice rally in the market today. Stocks closed a little bit off highs. We'll start by taking a look at a chart of the Nasdaq, which got an early lift thanks to a rebound in software stocks. But Nasdaq closed off its high. Looks like a gain of about 0.3%. So Nasdaq, Ed, we've got a lot of closes for the Nasdaq above the 50-day moving average. So technically, the market still looks pretty good here. Yeah,
it is interesting. I mean, again, look at the broad picture. Everything looks okay. Everything's within 2% of their all-time highs in terms of the major indexes. It's still interesting to see there's still a lot of uncertainty about what's going to lead the market going forward. I mean, low PE stocks have done better of late. Maybe software and some of these, the payment stocks, some of those high PE stocks trying to rebound today. But it'll be interesting to see that going forward. Maybe everything will just sort of rally. That would be just fine. It was, the China trade news was positive today. ECB cut rates, provided stimulus. So there was some positive news there. Nice to see this going on.
Yeah, and a shout out to the Russell 2000 today as well, which was down about 0.8% intraday. It had been rallying sharply this week, really outperforming, but it actually turned higher. Looks like it ended with a gain of about 0.2% or 0.3%. So, all right. Well, we mentioned another day of rallying for financial stocks. The 10-year Treasury yield just keeps on going. We were talking earlier today. It was down about, earlier this month. It was maybe 1.43, 1.44%, and now it's all the way up to 1.79%. This is happening with the Fed expecting to cut rates next week.
Yeah, well, there are prospects of maybe a little stronger growth. I mean, we were getting to all these recession concerns. I mean, the two-year yield has also popped up, but now we have a positive yield curve, and that's really important for financials that rely on the interest rate spread. So that is really what's lifting the financials.
All right, well, let's start by taking a look at Jpmorgan in the Dow. A lot of financial stocks in the Dow. Jpmorgan, Goldman Sachs, American Express, Visa, a whole bunch of stocks up nicely in the Dow. But we'll start by taking a look at Jpmorgan. Have a little breakout here over a 117.34 buy point, but there's a caveat, right?
The caveat one is that the relative strength line, if you look at that sort of that blue purplish line down below, that really is well off highs, and really, this is a weekly chart. It's a long time lows. It's really been sideways or lagging the market for several years. Financials just have trouble outperforming for long periods of time. I mean, you could argue with the 10-year Treasury yield coming up against its 50-day line, which has been area of resistance. If the 10-year yield doesn't widen the spread versus the 2-year, maybe these bank stocks will flatten out. I mean, we'll see, but they're having a nice little run right now.
Yeah, the real question is if financials are truly going to be able to lead this market. We did see a rally in software stocks, a leading sector in the market, but again, just not much of a rally considering the damage that's been done earlier this week. Still a lot of broken charts in the software sector. So the software bulls like to see today's gains, but really didn't do much to fix the charts. All right, let's take a look at ZTO Express in China. This is a company that's a provider of express delivery and logistics services. Really strong fundamentals here for quite some time, and ZTO powered past a 2146 entry today. So we'll take a look at a chart for ZTO Express, and also Yum China, YUMC, another China stock broke out today. But then we have a chart of ZTO Express. Here it is.
And ZTO also, what was nice about it, the volume was really strong today. Because some of the other breakouts, Jpmorgan wasn't, just okay or below average volume. So it's nice to see that powerful volume suggesting that institutions are really believing in this stock, which is a good sign that it'll continue to go higher. I mean, it's a little bit like it's a good way to play the e-commerce, chain bet with, especially with Alibaba and some of the others not doing well, but Pinduoduo and some others are. So So this is sort of a broad e-commerce play.
And a good example of what a bullish relative strength line looks like. If we could put that chart back up, we were talking about a lagging relative strength line for Jpmorgan, and here with ZTO, you have a relative strength line popping into new high ground. And the rally that this stock has made over the past several weeks, so you can see those blue volume bars down at the bottom, a lot of heavy volume gains for the stock. So really a good visual example of what a stock under accumulation looks like. So solid day for ZTO Express. And we'll finish today by taking a look at another chip stock that is acting well, Monolithic Power Systems. It's a chip designer. You see a lot of their designs in the automotive market, a fast-growing area of semiconductors. But Monolithic Power Systems is getting near a buy point here. The ticker is MPWR. And we'll take a look at a chart for Monolithic Power, and it's trying to clear a base here with a 161.60 entry. It's right at the top of the base here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of chip stocks are doing well. I mean, this is one reason sector moves are important. Teradyne, a chip equipment maker, was our stock of the day. So a number of stocks are in buy zones, near buy zones. So it's always positive to see that. I mean, you could arguably play a chip ETF if you're not sure which one to go for, but Monolithic is looking strong. So that one is definitely one to be keeping on your radar. See if that can punch higher, especially if it's on higher volume.
Okay, and group here, Broadcom is reporting earnings after the close. It looks like they just came out, so taking a look early and after hours trading looks to be slightly higher. So Broadcom certainly a bellwether in the semiconductor space. So we'll take a look at what that earnings report looks like, and if it's solid, it looks to be up slightly in the early going. So we'll have full coverage on Broadcom's earnings report as well. All right, folks, that'll do it for today. We always have a few house cleaning items as we wrap up the show. A reminder, we've got a new podcast with Arusha and Evan Harvey from Nasdaq talking ESG investing, which stands for environmental, social governance. They're going to be talking about names like Akamai Technologies and Comcast. So that is available just by going to investors.com/podcast. And then we have a webinar coming up next week with our own Justin Nielsen and Mike Webster. Free webinar, the ETF Playbook. That's going to be happening Tuesday, September 17th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So you can register at investors.com/webinar. And I think we're doing a social media preview. You can visit us on all our social media outlets of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. All right, folks, thanks a lot for joining us today. Ed, thanks as always. We'll see you back here tomorrow.